All right, it's a beautiful Friday morning. My name is Dapo Banjo. Welcome to Crossfire with Dapo and Ishoma. Yesterday I told you Ishoma is on a short break. By next week, she will be back. I'm missing a great deal. Those banters that we normally, exchange and all of that. And really and truly, we wish that you are back, myself and Vivian and all the other technical crew. Believe that you are well rested and that you'll be joining us, from next week. All right, let's quickly go to today's business. I have a guest in the studio. We'll be running the show together from top to bottom. And so we just want you to stay with us as we unleash a lot of stories, things that are happening. And we'll be taking comments on each and every of the news items that we have prepared for today. And on Crossfire today, it's a Friday and it's Feedback Friday. And so we'll bring up a lot of stories and we'll try as much as possible to throw light on them. I have a political analyst, a social commentator in the studio with me. Is no other person but GBENGA ONITILO. GBENGA, good to have you on the show.
Great to be here.
Every time we need to blow hot on the show, we try to just reach out to you and just get the business done. And so I'll quickly go through all the stories making headlines, and then we take our thoughts on each and every one of it. And don't forget that you can reach us on our numbers. You will see them scrolling on the screen, and you can just call us into the show and let us know exactly what you feel about any of the stories that we'll be bringing up on the show today. All right, welcome once again. It's Crossfire. My name is Dapo Banjo. And so federal government on Monday, federal government has declared Monday and Tuesday public holiday to mark the Eid al-Fitr. Now, the government has declared these 2 days for each and every one of us to celebrate with our Muslim brothers as they wrap up their fasting. That's the Ramadan period is coming to pass. We used to, when we were growing up, every time this comes up, we used to call it Odun Kekere. So Salah is the main Odunla where rams will be killed. So maybe this time around, no, I think this is the time rams will be killed. Though.
No, not this one.
Okay, it's not this one. This is the Tunuawe kind of thing. And so we expect that all the people who are on essential duties are going to be the ones we'll see on Monday and Tuesday, while all other people will be enjoying the holiday at home. All right, acting president seeks media cooperation in spreading gospel of Nigerians' cherished unity. What do we stand to really benefit if we break? That's something myself and GBENGA will be speaking on the show. Is there any benefit if we actually say, okay, let's even go our separate ways? What are the benefits? What do we stand to achieve if that happens? And if our unity is a problem, let's consider separating and let's us see if it's going to work or it's not going to work. But the federal government is preaching as we speak. It's preaching. Pastor Yemi Osinbajo is saying that we are stronger together. And I want to believe that we are stronger together. That's my opinion, though. But a lot of other people, differs. The Arewa people differs. The my Southeastern brothers differs. I have Igbo people in my family. So I don't know where I will belong when eventually, we grant a secession and then the Southeast goes their way. So I will be a dual citizen, even in Nigeria, because I will carry the Odua passport and at the same time probably carry the Biafra passport so that I can operate in between the two nations, as it were. And so during the meeting that was held yesterday at the presidential villa, the acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, sought the cooperation of the media to spread the gospel of Nigerian cherished unity. Now, the acting president told the media practitioners that they hold the public a duty to ensure that the proponents of hate speeches and divisiveness are all allowed to have, should not be allowed to have a field day. So what the media eventually bring out there about secession or any part of the country asking to go their separate ways should be well reported. If you don't have a confirmed story of what is being said, please just don't report anything as the fifth realm of the government. We need to be very careful about the information we put out there. Now, it's unfortunate that it's 30 days now that the Lagos kidnap happened. Security beef up in some other colleges, amid fresh threats. Now, security have been beefed up at the Lagos Model College, Igbonla, the Epe area of the state, where 6 senior secondary school students were abducted on Monday, the 24th. Now, the action is, as gathered, followed intelligence report that the kidnappers might strike again, owing to a letter written to a sister model college, and that is Federal Government College, Kankan in Badagry, informing the school authority of pending similar kidnap operation. Now, kidnappers have, had already threatened in the letter to the model college, saying that we will strike and abduct some students and some staff of the college. This is a level of effrontery and affront, on the government. I don't even see it on the school. I just see that there's no security, around, as it were. Now, INEC acknowledged receipt of petition to recall Senator Dino Melai. So myself and GBENGA will be talking a lot about this in the course of the show. I want to really know if this is successful, it's going to mark the beginning of the democracy that I am looking for. And all of that. And then lastly, we'll be talking about HMOs paid 60 billion naira amid, admin fee just to run the scheme, the National Health Insurance Scheme. We'll be talking more about this when we come back from this short break. We'll be right back after now. Stay with us. All right, welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. It's still Crossfire. My name is Dino Banjo. I have GBENGA ONITILO with me in the studio, and we will be dealing with a couple of stories, And GBENGA, welcome again, to Crossfire. Yesterday we were on the show, and it was a very very insightful and very, very hot, program we had yesterday. I had two gentlemen, in the studio. I had a barrister, Liberos Oshoma, and then great man. Imo Jonathan was on, was on the set too. And it was really a crossfire, because, they really differ in almost all the issues. I thought we would just be, and get enlightened, but I didn't know it was going to be that hot, and all of that. Okay, it's no story any longer that Monday and Tuesday will be public holidays. Okay, so let's go into what is happening. Yesterday, the acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, met with members of the media in continuation of his consultations and, engagements over the, quick notice that was issued to the Igbos by, some northern youth or northern miscreants, like some people call them, whether they are serious or they are joking. Nobody knows. After calls for secession by pro-Biafra group, that if you want to go, then you just go, leave us. We too, we want to stay on our own, as it were, and all of that. Maybe that was what really informed the northern youth to say, to give or issue a quick notice. Now, the dimension this time around is the fact that media position in reporting accurately what is being said, what happened here, and who said what. Because we keep having these misgivings, who actually said what. The northern elders came out to say, no, the youths that spoke were not speaking in our favor. They were not true representation of the position of the North. About, secession or quick notice to the Igbos and all of that. So I think investigative journalism is dead, really completely dead. And so we just pick stories from wherever we find it and all of that. But the dimension on this story, GBENGA, that I want us to look at is that if eventually, anything happens and the northern youth are serious about their threat, and Biafra agitation is still ongoing. Nnamdi Kanu is very unrepentant, and I feel to a very large extent, maybe the Southwest may come up one day and say something too, that if this is the dimension, all of this want to go, maybe we're going to even have 5+1 geopolitical zone saying, okay, let's all then go our way and see what will happen. Is there any benefit? First of all, let's look at the way this is being reported by the media as the fifth realm, or the fourth realm rather, as the fourth realm of, of a democratic dispensation, the type that we run in Nigeria at the moment. And at the same time, let's look at, is there any benefit in secession? We have seen other countries of the world, that have actually gone through this, and they probably, were good for it. But before I take your thought on this, I will quickly go on a commercial break, and then when we come back, I'll take your thoughts on some of these issues. We'll be right back after now. Stay with us. All right, we apologize for that break, and we're back, and it's still Crossfire. My name is Dapo Banjo. GBENGA ONITILO is here. GBENGA, I asked you. The press, the media, has the fourth realm of the government, and the way we report things. Do you think the media have enough information to report the activities of government, or we are just misunderstanding what government want to do, how they want to do it, and what they say and what they do not say? Especially when you have a government who does not engage the media, really and truly for proper, reporting or, any form of good reporting.
Maybe we should just take a look back, taking several years backwards into the military regime. And that's where the media got decimated. That's where the foundation of what, when you talk about truth as a conscience, actually started dying off in the days of Newswatch, Dedegiwa,
Exactly.
and a whole lot of all those key guys in those days that were doing quite a high-level reporting. It started with the military, and the military started decimating. It started evolving into quite a whole number of them, setting up media houses to drive narratives they want to push. And over the years, it has evolved like that, that most media houses in Nigeria today, when you begin to look at them, who are the people behind the scene that own this thing? Most of them are the elites, the politicians. They control most of these media houses, which does not guarantee high level of independence in a country that is polarized around religion, partisan politics, and ethnicity. So when you look at any newspaper, it's always easy for you to pinpoint how they will narrate an event. Because if you look at the region where the owner of the newspaper comes from, or the political party that person belongs to, it's always very easy for you to decipher how their editorials will be, the kind of news reporting that will be in the front page. So you cannot separate the media from the reality of what exists in the country. They are also parts of the society. So they come from the same system. And the system has been done in such a way that even the men of the media, just go check their remuneration. How well are they remunerated? Look at the issue of insurance. How well insured are they? So I think there is species under threat. Notwithstanding, you still have some that stand out, exceptional in their reporting and the kind of things they do. But right now, when you now have governments in every cycle, they are clandestine in sharing information. They are very clandestine. There's no transparency in government. Government is not accountable. Somebody says, a chief press secretary can say something today, tomorrow, maybe the secretary to the state government is saying something else.
Totally different.
So who exactly do you hold accountable in government to be able to source for information as a media person? So we don't operate in the terrain. They say there's freedom of information bill. But how well have people in government even honored something that is constitutional to be able to provide? Look at most of the budget of the state governments. Their budgets are so opaque that the Freedom of Information Bill, Lagos State, for example, I will mention, they have one of the most opaque budgets. Do you actually see any interactive engagement at the State House of Assembly on the issue of the budget? Name one State of Assembly in Nigeria that you see an engagement on budget appropriation. None. All they just come is they have signed it into law.
Yeah.
Assent. So the media is a species which is under threat in Nigeria. The question is, who will risk his own life to be able to push out the right narrative out there? One way or the other, there must be a vested interest behind you.
Okay.
that is either protecting you or securing, because the next thing you hear, DSS is after you. The next thing you hear, they come out with information that EFCC about the media house. They clamp down on the media. So we still live in a place where, look, for the media to have this full independence to report well, the institutions that protect the democracy must come to a place where they have to be independent of government. As long as the institutions, that's what makes a place like America, anybody can go on a radio station
And say
whatever he wants to say. Because the institutions protect the interests of the people. The institutions ensure the Constitution is being upheld. But when you have a situation, you have DSS, you have INEC, you have, which other institution do you have? You have ICPC, you have EFCC, Code of Conduct Tribunal. You have all those agencies are controlled by the presidency under the purview of the party in power. It goes a long way to tell you who will control the narrative under it. So we don't really have a democracy. We have a pseudo-democracy. That's what we have. We copied, but the foundation is not there. So the media cannot operate independent of the kind of governance structure that we have. So if we can keep blaming the media where you want to blame it, but check it. Who in the media will risk his or her own life? Check how many media editors have died in the past years. There's one guy on channels that went to cover the River State that the guy lost his life. Check a whole lot of them. Some have been kidnapped, eliminated. There's a threat even on the media. But the sad news is the media that is supposed to provide leadership in thoughts, they now go to social media to even
extract information. And
where they are supposed to be providing leadership for the social media. It's really sad that the social media is now the one being used to drive narrative, and I see it as appalling most of the time that people don't really do investigation.
But Gbenga, don't you think the social media has become like a platform where you see and say?
Because
because I mean, you have an element of investigative journalism. Somebody is saying what he saw, what he witnessed.
But is that person trained in the art of reporting?
Obviously not.
No accountability on social media. People lack discretion. They lack etiquette. They just report anything. Without discretion, not taking to the fact that can this eat up the polity? We already have a polarized state, and somebody is reporting something on social media that further fans the embers of division, ethnicity. So most of these bloggers that became celebrity journalists overnight, are they trained in the art of journalism? They don't even understand the etiquettes, how you project things. Everybody, because you're a blogger, you have 100,000 followers, 1 million followers, you feel you can report anything. Or because politicians are using you to drive narratives, all of a sudden you have seen yourself as a media person.
All right, okay, Gbenga, let's move on. Don't forget that, I mean, we're talking about the media now based on the engagement of the vice president, you know, on the media and the quick notice issued to the Igbo people. I was asking you, is there any benefit for us as a nation if we grant secession? If for any reason government comes out today to say, okay, if you want to go, go, and let us know how many of us are remaining.
The question I will ask you is, are we a nation? We are not a nation yet. We're a country in semblance. And if you are saying go, where will you go into? Because people that keep shouting, we will move. IPOB is pushing all sorts of narratives. The question is, where is the framework of what they are moving into? Everybody is shouting they want to leave. The northern youths are shouting they want to be on their own. That's one of the worst governed regions in Nigeria. And that is what gave back to the ideology of Boko Haram. Because governance there has failed. High rate of unemployment, high rate of illiteracy, maternal mortality, name it, everything, the North has it all. So when we say you are moving, or you want to secede into what? And when we say, the question is, 1999 Constitution said, we the people. The question you ask yourself is, the Constitution that drives everything, where did it come from? The military.
Who are the we?
Who are the we? We never had any referendum. The people never had a stake in what, because when you talk about nationhood, the people have a stake in drafting or
the
constitution itself, and also be able to say we voted in favor via a referendum that this is how we want to be governed. So We don't have a nation yet. We just have a country in name. Because if you say you have a nation, you will first see yourself as a Nigerian first. But for everybody to see themselves based on region and tribe first tells you one thing. We are running an anomaly. We don't have a nation yet. We have not evolved into nationhood. And all the agitation, I'm even alarmed that the vice acting president can call the media and start telling them the kind of narrative. No, for me, you are infringing on the independence of the media. The media should be able to report things as they deem fit. Because you can't be telling the media, why do you have the Nigeria Orientation Agency? Why are they set up? Bro, what's the name of that?
But that's moribund. I mean, the NOA is
No. That is who it should be dealing with, not with the media. The media must have its independence. You can do your press conference and do whatever you want to do, but you can't tell the media what to report
exactly.
And how to report. So indirectly, you are muzzling the media. And
they are trying to say, be behind what government wants. What government wants you to report is what you should report.
That's autocracy. So indirectly, the agitations you are seeing in all regions, they are real agitations. So if somebody is saying don't report that, what exactly are you talking about? That's the reality we are living with. Those things need to be reported. And the people that have the training, that have the etiquette, the capacity to report it in a balanced way, is still the media. Not the online bloggers, not Facebook, not Twitter. It's the media that has the power to report it in a responsible and accountable way. So for you to call the media is an infringement on their independence. So indirectly, you want to start driving a narrative. There is something wrong with the nation Nigeria. Everything we are seeing is a symptom of a more serious problem. So for people to now be saying, like the vice president or some of the governors are saying the unity of Nigeria is not contestable.
No, but I stand to be corrected, GBENGA. My concern is that I seem to be in favor of the approach of the acting president. I believe in dialogue. And I think problems need to be tabled and you have stakeholders make their comments and their contribution and all of that. I think that this engagement in the Niger Delta has really brought a form or a resemblance of peace to that region. The same thing to the Southeasterners. The same thing in the North. And to a very large extent, which seems to have, like I said, a similitude that, I mean, something that resembles calmness and a level of understanding. Don't you believe in the engagement of the acting president?
For me, I don't believe in those engagements. Who exactly are you engaging?
The people.
Who are the people?
Which
people?
All the residents, yes.
You are engaging the elites. The ones that are responsible for the problem. Those are the people you are engaging. Are you engaging people like, are they engaging people like you and I?
Where are we?
So that's the question. The people you are engaging are the 1% that cause all the problem of Nigeria, that get all the money and the funds and divert it and use some of their stooges to cause problems. Those are the people you are engaging. Are you engaging the people that have over 5 million that have lost their job in the past 2 years of this administration? You are talking about the Niger Delta. What did they do? All you just went there is to deal with the people that are causing the agitation. And probably they award their contracts, like I'm hearing, what's the name of Tom Polo? His contract has been given back to him. So we are just pacifying people to stem the tide of something, an uneasiness that will still rise. The real issue, our coexistence, it keeps coming up. The restructuring of the country. How do you restructure this country to ensure that everybody has a voice, everybody has a representation, everybody has access to the basic of life?
Yeah, now considering, I mean, the number of ethnic groups in Nigeria, the number of languages, and you know, we scattered all around. If you have the privilege of calling a referendum, how would you go about it, GBENGA?
Look, referendum, number one, is not even in the Constitution. It's not in
and you will have due representation. You have all the people that should be represented,
look,
you know, to be seated.
If you want to have a referendum, it's a very dicey one. You know why? When you have high level of poverty and high illiteracy, the illiteracy level is high, joblessness. You want to have a referendum in that kind of state, it's dicey.
So that means the agitation and there's so much talk about restructuring cannot happen now.
No, it's possible. But I'm saying it's dicey. Because when you have a teeming populace that is hungry, that is impoverished. Look at what is happening in Kogi, for example. That they said the governor is the one sponsoring the recall.
The recall of the...
And it's very easy for him to get people to come out. When people have not collected pensions for 12 months or salaries for 15 months, just give them whatever you want to give them. They will come out because they need to eat, to sign whatever needs to be signed. So that is how dicey it is, because people will vote or make a decision based on what they are being offered. Based on manipulation. And that is the risk I see when people are saying, let's have a referendum. It's a high risk. When you have a majority that is not enlightened, that is not exposed, that is hungry.
But the people, the elites amongst them, amongst the various ethnic groups in Nigeria, they suppose at least it is not impossible that we have somebody that is well educated to represent every ethnic group in Nigeria.
Before that can happen, I said something earlier. If the institutions that are supposed to make all these things work are not independent constitutionally, they don't have their own source of funding independent of all this budget appropriation, we cannot achieve that. For example, the police. Who controls the police of a state? The federal government controls the police. The governor can make all the noise, but the commissioner of police is not accountable to him. If the funding of the police comes via taxes paid by you and I, not appropriation of the budget, do you know how independent the police will be? Which means nobody can manipulate the IG. No, because if you look at the funding of the police, rubbish, 15,000 naira or 20,000 or so to run a police office, that is given to them to run. So if you don't have the institute, for example, INEC, always appointed by the presidency, the DSS, the body language of the president determines who they harass, the EFCC as well. If anybody is going against the will of the state, come on, cook up some allegation against him, say, the judges are corrupt, and you go after them. So those institutions, these institutions are supposed to become a stabilizing form for the democracy, to ensure the constitutions are upholded, like what happened in America when Trump came out with his tantrum against the Muslims and all that, and people took it to court, and the judge waived everything, and he did an appeal. They waived it aside, and they told him the Constitution of the United States is stronger than the presidency. Who the hell are you? You are just there. The Constitution controls everything, not you. So that is look, before we can even, I told some people on social media, I said, look, if you don't fix the system, your referendum is going to fail. Because the majority of those that are going to vote are going to vote based on influences from these same elites that controls the political parties, that controls the wards, that controls the grassroots with funding, with money, with food. So I don't see anything coming out from any referendum at this point in time. If we don't fix all these underlying problems, we must fix them first. When we fix them, when people have access to basics of life, social security, welfare, safety net, and the institutions are fully independent of the controls of the politicians. If we can't...
But is it possible to get the politicians out of this current system that we run?
Look, when somebody like Dino is recalled, then people will know they have power.
All right, we'll be back. We'll be back after this short commercial break. It's Crossfire. Stay with us. All right, we're back, and thanks for staying with us. It's still Crossfire on Wazobia Max, channel 259 on DSTV and on our terrestrial platform. My name is Dapo Banjo. All right, we were saying something about Kogi State. I'm so very... What is the problem between Yaya Bello, the governor of Kogi State, and the senatorial representative representing Kogi West in the person of Senator Mr. Dino Melaye? I mean, I think that, don't you think they are heating up the polity?
No, not really. It's a game of thrones. Because I think Dino has his eyes set to be governor in 2019. Everything that you're saying happening, it means they are positioning him to take over the place from 2019.
Oh, really? Is that what you see?
That's what I see playing out. And it's a high risk. If he ends up becoming governor, he's going to come after Yaya Bello. Because Yaya Bello is one of the worst in the history of this country as a governor. That's one of the worst governors. And people say you want the young people. Is it not the youth? Is it not there as a youth?
Considering his antecedents as the governor of the state, don't you think?
But don't forget, these guys have been friends before.
Okay.
They worked together against Faleke. They worked together against Faleke, the Supreme Court ruling that got Faleke out. And now is in the party. Now, all these fallouts came as a function of, what do you call it now? Pension issues, people not being paid pension.
Exactly.
Which Dino saw as an opportunity to latch on.
And Yaya Bello is of the opinion that they will rather concentrate on development than to pay outstanding.
What is development? The primary responsibility of any government is social security and welfare. Development. Who are you? The people you are doing the development for will be dead.
Yes.
They won't be gone by the time your development is over. People must feed first. They must have shelter. They must have safety nets. They must have comforts before you start talking about your projects that most of the time is their families and their appointees that implement all those projects. All those projects. The people, you must take care of the people, because the people are the ones that are ensuring that you even generate revenue in the state.
Revenue in the first instance.
All the revenue you will generate from the state are going to come from the people that are working within that state. All the taxations, levies will come through the civil service that are working to implement most of the things in the budget and all the ideas and agendas that you have. So if you don't take care of those people, how will you be able to work effectively as a government? So the issues between the two of them stem from there. And because he has seen that this guy has an agenda, so the war broke out. And what people have been saying is the one sponsoring him. Whether he is the one or not, it will be proven from July. Is it July 3rd?
Yes, July 3rd. Now, wait, do you see a Dino Melaye recall? Do you see a Dino Melaye recall?
At the end of the day, the final letter will still be given to the Senate. And you know why is a big challenge? Most of them are not supposed to even be in that chambers. And they will also be working behind the scene to frustrate that effort. And if you see, there is a process.
Because if he works against Dino Melaye, it can be used against all of them.
It's going to be backfired against all of them. And don't forget, if most of their state governors are not comfortable with all of them in the Senate, the state governors will start pushing a movement.
But an independent body is doing the compilation.
Which independent body?
An independent body is supposed to do the verification of people. INEC.
Who told you they are independent?
It's the Independent National Electoral Commission. That's what it is called, by name.
Constitutionally, they are not independent. When you look at the Constitution, who controls it? The presidency. Still controls INEC.
Okay, if the presidency controls them, we are dealing with the legislative.
What about if you are
on this report, we are dealing with the legislative here.
Okay.
If they do the compilation, do the signature verification, and they have enough number to get a
once everything has been validated, you have no choice to announce for him to leave the chamber. When it gets to that stage, the Senate president has no choice. But what I'm saying is, you have to verify over 188,000 signatures. And if you find any anomaly, that disqualifies the whole effort. So you cannot imagine how much of taxpayers.
So Yahya Bello is looking for 200 committed people who believe in him to be able to get a Dino Melaye out.
That's what he's working towards. But the thing is this: for me, if actually the governor is the one behind the old stuff, there are two thoughts on this. If the governor is actually the one sponsoring it, using state funds, because you need to get somebody out of power and the same person cannot pay salaries, I won't support a cost like that. But on the other side,
a lot of people may be responsible.
But
we have somebody seated a few years back, Senator Adeyemi Smith.
Okay.
And he's a stakeholder in Kogi State.
They are all the same. The same man that was given 500 million to do some development in the States by, is it Audu Bako, and pocketed it. They are all the same thing. All these guys are the same thing. He pocketed over 500 million that should go into development to empower the people of Kogi State, and he put it in the pocket. There is none of them to celebrate. A Dino should not, in a normal climate, a Dino will never be a senator. A thug that will just wake up in the morning and just be dancing to music and sharing it on social media. A popular song.
On a very lighter note, Gbenga, look at it this way. A Dino Melaye versus Ayo Fayose. No, it's so very, let me say how very bad this is. That we seems to be talking about our representatives. We're talking about the governor of a state and a representative of a people in the National Assembly. And we're comparing their jocular level. I mean, their level of jocularity. That's what we're comparing here. Who is more of, who fits more into the entertainment industry when you begin to put them, side by side. It's so unfortunate that that's
what we're comparing them with.
Yeah. It's so very sad.
It's sad, really. So for me, if Dino is pushed out, whether it's a legitimate way or through a legitimate way, it will give powers now to the electorate.
People. Yes.
The people will now understand, whoa. So our state House of Assembly, in our own states, they are not doing anything. So we can actually recall those ones too. We can recall those in Abuja as well. Then the power comes to the people. So that will be the only reason why we want a Dino to get out of that place. And we'll pass a message to every one of them there. So the people that now know how to mobilize will now begin to mobilize.
Let's talk about some benefits of a recall, of a representative, to the people. Yeah. To the people, directly to the people. Aside from the fact that you probably have an ambition to recall, maybe there's a big disparity, a misunderstanding, or a power tussle, as it were, between, let's cite the example of Yaya Bello of Kogi State and Dino Melaye. Yeah. And let's see a recall. Let's assume that a recall eventually happened. Yeah. What does it translate into the people? What form of empowerment or what are the benefits of a successful recall of a representative, either from the state or from the national?
It's a double-edged sword. That's what Yaya Bello doesn't understand. Oh, okay. If a Dino is recalled, he doesn't know the people also can push for their own representatives in the state of assembly to impeach him as well. Okay. That's why I would like it to happen.
Okay.
Because once it happens, the man that refused to pay pensions, salaries, that is always wearing shades around the whole place, means the same sword you use for Dino Melaye is going to come back at you. Because the people of the state will now realize, we have called Dino. All those guys that represented us in the state of assembly, now we want you to impeach this guy. If you don't impeach him, we will recall you. That sends another thing in motion. And it now begins to make people understand how powerful they have always been all these years that they never knew. For me, I want it to happen. How it will happen is a long ride.
That's the story for the gods, I guess. That's something you and I may not be able to do. The outcome is something we are not very sure about.
Nobody can control it.
We cannot but talk about security on the show. Critical. It's something that we keep talking about until we have something that gives you and me a sense of belonging, saying that I feel safe now in Nigeria. I feel safe. We have students, young children. I thought we used to, when I was growing up, the slogan that youth we are the leaders of tomorrow. The tomorrow we were talking about yesterday is actually the today that we have right now. These children have been there for 30 days. I was just talking somewhere with a group of people, and people felt like this is a setup to put Ambode in a very tight corner.
That's a stupid setup.
That is a setup to put Ambode in a tight corner because he stepped in the other time. So people are feeling that, okay, Lagos State is rich. If the parents of these children do not have money to bail their children out from the coffers of the kidnappers, then the state should step in. And to a very large extent, it looks as if the government of Lagos State looked away. And now these children have been there. We even heard last week that one or two of them have been sick. Wow. Whether they have been attended to, we don't even know. The parents went to Alausa to do a representation, to talk, to say, no, it's getting too long. Now it's about a month that these children have been there. Now we got another report that the federal government college in Kanko Badagry, all of the schools that the kidnappers are hiring right now are all in the riverine. Yeah. And it's so unfortunate that government doesn't seem to have taken a position on this particular incident. Now, our students, our children are not even safe in their own schools any longer, GBENGA?
Well, it still borders on failure of governance and the structure that drives security. When a governor...
On a state-to-state basis
when a governor cannot control the security apparatus of the state, he's just a sitting duck. He cannot... Do you know the school where those kids were taken from? They actually wrote them that they were coming. They wrote them that they were coming, and they said they put security there. I wonder what kind of security they put there. That's why you will be tilted to believe at times that there is a conspiracy.
It's like the kidnappers are even more intelligent than our security apparatus.
Not that.
If they were on ground, really and truly, after the threat, because the information in the public domain is that security people were put to...
They were there. They were there.
So they outsmarted them.
At the end of the day, so the question you begin to ask them is, who are the moles within the security agencies that these guys are working with? It also borders on the issue of intelligence, because in Nigeria, the same thing just keeps happening over and over. You check the trend of kidnapping in school. It's the same process over and over. When something happens in normal climes, they simulate the scenario. How did it happen? What happened? Okay. What can happen in the future? How do we stem it? How do we guard against it? It's like when something happens, it's just Nigerians, the way it is, you are the mercy of the kidnappers. The government is not proactive enough to ensure some of those things does not repeat itself. And it shows that information gathering, intelligence of our security agencies is a bit weak and low at the moment. And as long as it doesn't affect the children of those that are the elites, you will never see any proactive measures being taken. Also, let me just close by saying this. They said they paid a ransom about 10 million to those people. From one of the information pushed in the media, said about 10 million has been pushed and all that. They need more to be pushed. So I'm wondering...
You know, at the initial stage, they were asking for 250 million per person.
Yeah, like you said, maybe because they believe the state government was involved one way or the other in pushing cash, and they feel money could become. So I'm still imagining. It means we are not, our security agencies are not trained in policing when it comes to amphibious security along the swamps and all that. It means it's either we don't have the resources, they don't have the training, they don't have the technology, and those guys know. That's why they keep attacking.
That's where they've lived all their lives.
That's where they live all their lives.
Yes. So they know the terrain.
Yeah, they know, and they know the weakness of our security agencies, that they cannot manage those kind of things. And that's why they always say, they always write that they are coming. And they always end up coming and carry out this...
And eventually executing their
plans successfully. For me, I think most of these schools around those areas should even be shut down. They should be shut down. There should be a plan to relocate them to places where that is safe. I think they should be relocated from all those
Somebody was saying that. I said that in somewhere where I was talking. And somebody is saying, so where will they go to? I said, if parents do not take their children out of the place, I think the first thing is left to the parents. If they love to put their children through this type of trauma
continually,
exactly, because you don't know who is next.
And if government fails in providing the primary thing in a democracy, which is security and welfare, then the government has no mouth to say anything. And I'm even appalled that the state government has been quiet about this issue. There is no pronouncement. There is no communication to say they're on top of the game. Even if
we talked about that yesterday.
Even if you don't have to provide information about what you are doing.
Exactly.
But let the people know you are on top of this game, that there is empathy on the side of the government. The silence is unbecoming.
I guess maybe they're engaging the parents, the people who involved. It's so very sad that we have not even had a group of people to sympathize or empathize with the parents of these children. Everybody kept quiet because, okay, I'm not involved. My family is not directly
Most
involved.
of them, their kids are abroad anyway, so why would they bother? That's why we have the State of Assembly in Lagos, which I think is a monumental failure. And people like them are quiet on this. These are the kind of matters we should summon the governor's office on security in Lagos State. What is happening? Why will this keep happening? If it was the Senate, I'm sure the Senate will have called those ones. They like calling people anyway. When they see anything going on, they will summon you and talk to us, or they will issue an arrest against you.
Okay, GBENGA, in closing, and this is a very sincere question. I'm not joking about it.
Yeah.
Where is my president? Where's my president? Where is President Muhammadu Buhari? I mean, unlike before when we were saying, talk to us, Nigerians are not asking for him to talk now. Show your face, even if it's on Skype. They're not interested. We know that we all accepted that our president is not feeling fine. But the truth is, how and where is our president?
The question I will say is he really a patriot, like people make him to be? Or if he is actually a patriot, this is the time he needs to put the interests of this country first above him. Nigeria is bigger than him. Than anybody. So if he actually says he loves this country, like he cried one time after the third time that he failed, if he truly loves this country, he needs to make a decision as a patriot to move on and go and take care of his own health. Because as it is at the moment, the silence, because before you
maybe Nigeria is worth dying for. Maybe Nigeria is worth dying for him.
At what price? At what price to us as Nigerians? Where the acting president, some say he's a coordinator, and begin to believe that. There are some things he can't.
That was the content of the last letter.
He could not sign. One time he wanted to sign the budget, and one time he couldn't sign it. He had to wait until
get approval
because the moment he was about to sign, Shehu Gaba released a report that the president has given the go-ahead for. So that is the dilemma here. If he's truly a patriot and he loves this country, I think it's high time he steps aside in the interest of the nation, and he will have formed a legacy for himself as a sitting president that was ill in this part of the world, that people would rather die
and become incapacitated to continue,
because
and he magnanimously, relinquish power and say, you know what, I cannot continue for health reasons. And I mean, so it will distinguish, President.
It will be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, out of all the other leaders, presidents of other African countries who wants to die in power. He's just saying, okay, I am incapacitated, my health is failing, and I cannot continue. Don't you think, like you said, write his name in the book, in the Hall of Fame?
And that's one of the things that is affecting the acting president, because a whole lot of high-level politicking is going on. The North, the East, power tussle. So that's why it's like they are setting booby traps for the guy up every now and then. And the guy also needs to be careful in some of the things he signs up on, the decisions he makes. But who is putting him in this scenario is the president that is out of the scene. So if he's really a patriot for the interest of Nigeria, he says he loves Nigeria. And if he's truly a patriot, he should just do the needful and just step aside.
Okay, build up to 2019. What political environment do you see? I mean, I'm building up on it because I know very soon we'll be talking more about 2019 elections because it's just around the corner.
2019, the way things are playing out, people are not going to be working with political parties anymore.
To enjoy more of this our Ogbonge